Ready?
Welcome to the Jacob Koutas show, Fernando. Fernando Soccer Shop.
Yep.
Welcome, dude. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Dude, living the dream. How did you start Fernando Soccer Shop? Let's just start there.
I guess I started to be entrepreneurial during COVID. Definitely the adjustment during COVID, not doing much.
Yeah.
And growing up, my uncle really took a lot of time with my brother and I just to train us during summertime. But it was getting up at 6 a.m. to train with my uncle. He was really dedicated to like running in the morning, and we're like, hey, can we train with you? And I appreciate that, reminiscing on that and just reflecting on that, just training at 6 a.m, playing soccer, kicking the ball when it was like the sun was barely rising. And like I said, during COVID, it's just like, hey, there's not much to do. So I would just grab my brothers and be like, hey, you guys want to just train soccer, just like the good old days with my uncle, And as we just started posting that, my other cousins just got involved with us, and from there, here we are, Fernando Soccer Shop, guys.
That's so sweet. So did you like have any job complications in COVID or anything? Or because I know I came out of COVID graduating college, so like my senior year, second semester was like when COVID hit. So out of college, I didn't have a job, obviously. And it was kind of weird transitioning into like life where everyone was in their homes, and it was like, don't go outside, but it's like also go get a job. Exactly. So it was weird. So how was your work career like when you're kind of starting your Fernando Soccer Shop and getting into it, and also like what happens with COVID and stuff?
Yeah, so like academically I was a little behind because I first initially went to NIU to play soccer, and then I transferred to College of DuPage. And I was at the time during COVID trying to transfer into either like DePaul or Roosevelt or UIC, and just I did so many credits at College of DuPage that not all the credits would transfer. So I was like, crap, like what do I got to do?
Yeah.
So luckily, actually before COVID began, January 2020, I remember January 29th, I was hired at Citibank.
Okay.
And I did my training, and then once I was done with my training, boom, COVID became a big thing. I remember it was after Kobe passed away. I'm like, damn. But I mean, it didn't affect me. Definitely making Fernando Soccer Shop bigger. At the time, I remember I was only allowed to go into our retail, like the physical branch, I want to say like 3 times out of the week, but we were paid for the whole week.
Oh,
so it's
interesting.
just I was like predominantly focused on doing the training sessions in the morning, but like actually just having more time on my hand during the week. Hey, we could do like trainings like Monday, Wednesday, Friday, in the morning.
Yeah,
so that
awesome.
Definitely allowed me to grow because a lot more people were able to come.
Yeah, and I remember doing the 3v3 tournament. How did that? That was so much fun. I remember you were just like, you want to do a 3v3 tournament? I'm like, why not? Like,
exactly,
let's go,
right?
let's ball out.
Exactly.
It was like a little kind of like, what was that building? It was like a.
Yeah, so shout out to my uncle Ernesto Padua. He had a soccer club, so like he rented out the space. And during COVID, my cousins and I, like, we just got invited, like, hey, do you guys want to, like, just do some pickup games? And from there, I remember it was such a great time because obviously, you weren't allowed to do much. You weren't allowed to leave the house during COVID. But it was honestly a really good time. And, like, from there, I'm like, hey, you know what? Like, we were just, like, jokingly, like, make trophies out of it. Like, hey, like, if you came to the pickup games, like, hey, you were voted the man of the match or, like, the player of the tournament, just, like, trying to make it fun, But from there, I'm like, you know what? Like, we should try to definitely organize something. And just, like, again, like that, just, like, little moments like that where trying to make it fun, just trying to, like, bring people together. I feel like that's definitely what I'm trying to encompass, is not just prioritizing, like, selling jerseys or cleats, just, like, building a community,
So do you sell, like, jerseys, not just Fernando Soccer Shop jerseys? You sell, like, authentic jerseys, retro jerseys, cleats? Like, what kind of merchandise does the business kind of run off of?
Yeah, so when I was at College of DuPage, I had a professor. He was, I believe, part of the business department at College of DuPage, and it was just like, hey, he was having an event, the Maker Market, and it's like, if you want to be entrepreneurial, like, hey, just something you're passionate about, like, come in, like, showcase that. And growing up, my dad, like, he has a closet filled with, like, authentic jerseys. Like, anywhere he could find a jersey, like, he'll collect them. And he got me and my younger brother into it, where it's like, if I can go to a garage sale or anywhere and I could tell you whether or not that jersey was authentic.
Yeah.
Like, it's come to that point. And it's like some of the jerseys my dad has are insane. Like I know he has, I think it's like 01, 02 Ronaldo Inter Milan jersey, and it's like that's dope.
The OG Ronaldo.
The OG Ronaldo.
Yeah, not Cristiano.
No, not Cristiano.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember an authentic AC Milan Ibrahimovic jersey. And there's two different kits that I've seen. It's like the authentic ones and then obviously the fake ones.
Yeah.
But then there was a third one that I saw that my brother got, which was like a formed one, and it was like 325 or 350, I think. And you like got it like you had measurements like of your chest, like below your chest, your waist, and it like formed to your body, and it was basically like this really skin tight version.
Oh yeah, the authentic version,
The
ones that they play with.
Yeah, the ones that they play with. Yeah. So he ordered one of those just to try it out, and he said it was like the best jersey he's ever had. And then obviously it's like you grow taller, wider, bigger shoulders, whatever, and you just kind of pop out of that jersey no matter what because it's like super skin tight. Yeah. So other than the Ronaldo jersey, what's probably the favorite one that you have?
I know my dad has like this color over here. It's the 0506 FC Barcelona Ronaldinho jersey.
Ooh, when Messi played with him for the first.
I believe that was the first. I think that was the season they won the Champions League.
Yeah, it was, and he put it on his head. I'm pretty sure that was the one. I remember those jerseys; those were sweet. Yeah. My favorite one that I have, I think, is the pink Bale jersey from Real Madrid. So they had like an alternative kit pink one, and I throw that on, and people are like, "Real Madrid had a pink jersey and Gareth Bale was on it." And I was like, you got to know ball to know the pink jersey, dude. So, what's your favorite kits this year, dude?
I think the Napoli jersey's clean. This season is clean. Man, that's a good question.
Arsenal popped out with the black jerseys this weekend when they beat Tottenham.
Ooh.
I'm sad about it, but it's okay.
Oh, what club do you support?
I'm a Tottenham fan for sure.
Oh man.
What are you?
I mean, I'm embarrassed to say I'm a Manchester United fan, but
they won 3-0.
They won though, but.
They're
Hag at the wheel, man. It's not cooking.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, I think that Ten Hag has done a good of enough job to keep his job. Yeah. Where they can't be like, all right, we're gonna fire you because you're not performing because they did win the cup. They had a trophy last year. So technically, you got to keep him because he did perform and win a trophy. And if your goal for him was to win a trophy, he can sit there in the manager's office and be like, I won a trophy for you guys. Like, let's keep this going and build momentum off this. But they just don't play exciting football. It's kind of tough to watch. Exactly. Where like Tottenham's on the opposite side. We don't really win a lot, but we play exciting football. So it's like, which one do you want? And it's tough. They're going through a transition phase for sure. Which is, how do you like Garnacho?
He's good. I'm so disappointed in him because he's not Argentinian. Like, he should be playing for Spain. Yeah. So it's like, I feel like that generation of the young Spanish talent, like Iñaki Williams,
Pedri.
Oh my God, I'm blanking on the names right now.
Gavi. I mean,
Gavi. Like, there's so much talent. Like, I don't know if you've seen the youngster at Liverpool as well. He went on a loan this season.
Where did he go to loan
Salzburg, from? I think.
Oh yeah, I did see him.
And he's Spanish too, and it's like this plethora of talent. It's like Garnacho. I don't think he's gonna get a lot of minutes with Argentina, but I mean, I get why.
Yeah, he will in 2 years, 3 years maybe. Yeah. Once Messi steps off the table and off the stage, but until then, he's gonna be behind the spotlight because you have Lautaro Martinez. Yeah. You have all those amazing players. So, dude, what did you think of the World Cup in 2022? I personally thought it was one of the best things in the entire universe of soccer that had ever happened.
It was definitely one of the best World Cups in recent memory, for sure. I really wasn't a big fan of the 2018 World Cup, but like looking back, there were so many great moments. Like, I mean, obviously like Morocco, that World Cup run they had, I definitely thought that was Mbappe's World Cup. Yeah. Despite him not winning the World Cup, I definitely think he was the best player at the World Cup
in 2022.
2022, yeah. Like, I mean, come on, a hat trick. In the
final.
World Cup final. Like, I don't remember I don't think anyone's ever done that before.
I think
maybe Pele. Maybe Pele.
I think Pele has done it. Don't quote me on that, but I definitely think that there has been one before because I don't remember them saying that he was the first person to do it when I was watching the game. Yeah. When he scored that third goal.
Maybe modern history, like maybe modern football, but like, don't get me wrong, like obviously Argentina was favorites to win the World Cup, and
Yeah.
I lean more towards like the Argentinian debate, like Maradona versus. I lean more towards Maradona than Messi on that. But it's like I feel like this World Cup, it was felt like, I mean, the last World Cup was like, hey, like Messi has to win it. Like I don't know.
Yeah.
After that Netherlands game, I was like, no, something's going on.
Do you think it was rigged with all the PKs that happened or no?
Not necessarily, because I did see a stat where France had like the same amount of PKs.
Yeah.
In the 2018 World Cup, but like
It's
that Netherlands game really did change my mind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I laughed when people told me when they lost their first game to, I think it was Saudi Arabia.
Saudi Arabia, yeah.
They lost the first. People were like, "Dude, Messi's gonna get out of the World Cup. Like he's gonna lose." And I'm like, just wait. I'm like, you cannot count out the best team in the entire world. And then they turned it around with that goal against Mexico. They had to score or else they were basically out. And Messi had that basically 20-foot perimeter touch and finish.
Yeah.
I don't ask me to ever do that, because I think if you gave me 100 tries, I maybe could recreate it once. And he did it in the moment in that pressure. And then the third game was
against Poland.
Poland,
yeah.
And that one was just about as close as you can get. I mean, didn't Lewandowski have a PK? Or was that like, no, that was against Mexico.
I think Mexico, yeah.
Yeah. I thought Poland was going to pull through.
I was really frustrated, obviously, like being Mexican American, rooting for both teams. But like I had a chance. I remember I was in Mexico City. I arrived in Mexico City. I went to see a music festival. I was going out there for a music festival, and I remember as soon as I got off the plane, I get the news that Argentina lost 1-0, and I'm like, crap, like this is Mexico's chance. This is the World Cup final to beat Argentina, and they choked.
Yeah. It was such a close game. I really thought Mexico was going to pull it out. They were right there with them. They had a really great team. They've kind of fallen apart since, though.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I feel like their just mentality is just kind of poor. And it's correlating with all the South Americans that I've seen so far. And I just don't like to see it. I'd rather see them like have the super good confidence to knock the ball around and kind of play. Yeah. But they've just been kind of getting too physical. I mean, you look what happened in the Colombia game. It's just like these guys are going out there to just hit each other and basically play American football on a football pitch, which is nuts. And it's crazy that Argentina can still somehow beat these teams, even though they've been playing so physical.
Yeah.
So, all right, what do you think about, first of all, the butterfly effect that happened where we go from Timothy Weah getting a red card correlating to us getting kicked out of the group stage, correlating to us firing our USA manager, correlating us to now hire the best manager, and now we have Mauricio Pochettino at the head of the U.S. men's national team. This is crazy.
Crazy. Shout out to Tim Weah for getting that red card. But it's exciting, and at the same time doesn't seem real. Because like right now the U.S. is like just playing terrible. Yeah. I think, in my personal opinion, Jesse Marsch would have been a better pick. Because not just because he's American, but obviously, he knows the players. And it's like, obviously, Pochettino knows them as well. Some of the players that play in the Premier League. But it's like, at this point, I feel like it has to come from the players. Regardless of who the manager is, like, they got to step up. Yeah. I definitely do think that besides Canada and Mexico, like, the U.S. obviously has the most potential, has a plethora of players that are ready to step up and go to Europe. Like, immediately, like, you see like the likes of like Gaga Solina, like from the Chicago Fire, like that. Guti is going to be the next player out of the Fire. And it's like all these talented players are getting a lot of minutes in the MLS. And like in Mexico, you don't see that. You don't see a young player blossom in the league and just step up and go to Europe. So it's like the players, that definitely the mentality needs to change. Like, what do you think about that?
Yeah, I think Pochettino brings that mentality. I mean, I saw his Instagram post and first interview, and he was basically like, what's your expectations? It was the Men in Blazers show. What's our expectations of the World Cup? And he's like, our expectations are that we are going to win. How awesome is that you have a coach who comes in here and says, oh, we don't want to get far, and we're going to get pretty far. Like, no, like, we want to win the World Cup. We want to go out there, perform, and win. And it's like having a coach that just has that mentality and just says, believe. All you got to do is believe. Every single day, if you believe that you can win the World Cup, eventually it will come true. And it's like McGregor with the law of attraction. It's like if you can see it, if you can believe it here, then it'll happen. It's like, I think if he can bring that mentality to U.S. soccer and to youth soccer to develop these kids, I think that's a huge bonus. And he's already in talks with the Youth USA soccer organization and trying to get them uplifted. And I think if you take a manager like Pochettino, and he's seen Spurs, he's seen Chelsea, he's seen all these clubs, he's seen the youth programs, he's seen what they've done, he can give advice to these people to give out to all Americans, to all coaches, to people at our levels, at local levels, at high school levels even, hopefully, to just be like, this is what we should be doing in trainings, this is what you should avoid doing in trainings, this is what you should do to take care of your players, your fatigue. Like, you can build off that, and then you're gonna, I mean, you have so many people that live in the United States, so many people that are like liking soccer, that you could build up a base in the youth soccer program. You almost have to produce 18 people to perform at the highest level. Like, it's got to happen.
No, and I'm excited, honestly. Like, definitely before the signing of Poch, you're starting to see how the U.S. soccer organization is definitely going towards the right direction. Like, you're starting to see, obviously, with the introduction of MLS Next Pro and obviously MLS Next, they're identifying talented players younger, like Kevin. I don't know if you've heard of Calvin Sullivan
From
Philadelphia.
Yeah.
He's 14 and City already picked him up. And it's like, we can develop these players. Like, obviously, Messi's kids are going to play in the Inter Miami Academy.
Yep.
I mean, who knows? They might suit up for the U.S. one day. But, I mean, it's exciting. It's exciting.
Yeah.
And I'm definitely excited with Poch being here, especially with the work he did in Spurs. But I feel like after Spurs, he hasn't really impressed anymore.
I would say that is one fall of his, is that he hasn't really impressed since he went to the Tottenham final in 2018 against Liverpool. Since then, he hasn't really put himself out there to be that top-level competition coach. But he has coached top-level players, and he's brought in top-level players across his clubs that he's been at, with Chelsea, with Tottenham, bringing in all these players. I mean, there's some players that really are phenomenal. But like I said, you can't buy players at the national level. That's like the biggest problem. The buying that you're doing is just investing in the youth so that they develop, and then you can bring them onto the national stage. But you can't spend $150 million and get Erling Haaland as your striker. You can do that for Man City. You can't do that for the U.S. men's national team. So seeing him adapt with what he has and what the U.S. has to offer might be challenging for him. I think he will do a good job to start, but I think as they get to larger competitions, when they go against Germany and they go against Spain and England and these big top teams, I think they're going to struggle to start. But I think if we have more competitions against those national teams, we would develop better and actually get the skill and experience to play against those teams when it comes to the World Cup.
Yeah.
So I think we're lacking that, honestly. We're lacking playing against the European teams more often. We always play Copa America, Gold Cup. Yeah. And it's like we're just stuck over here on the western side of the hemisphere, and we never like cross over for anything, even a friendly, other than like Real Madrid coming and playing
here. Yeah, exactly.
In the U.S., so.
And it's exactly the same issue that the Mexico has. Mexico, I mean, obviously they play their friendly. Like, think about it. Mexico play in the United States. They don't play in Mexico. They play here, and like they're playing. Who did they play against? New Zealand. Like, come on, guys. Like, that's definitely not the best way to improve your soccer federation. But I mean, the U.S. I'm excited, especially. I mean, we haven't even talked about it. The World Cup's gonna be here.
Yeah. In
the United States. Although there aren't gonna be any games here in Chicago, but I'm definitely going to a Toronto game. Definitely going to Mexico City to watch a game. I think the closest games here for us would be Kansas City, right?
Kansas City. And I think I think most likely Kansas City is going to be group stage. So I'll probably catch a group stage game. I'm pretty sure semifinals or quarterfinals will either be in LA or New York or Texas. Because Texas has got the Dallas Cowboys Stadium, and that thing is just... I think the Megatron might be almost as big as the field, which is mind-boggling. And I think that some Europeans might not be able to comprehend that.
The American culture.
The American culture of like sitting there and staring at that Megatron and being like, this is the length of a football field. Like, this is huge. So I think it'll be interesting. to see how they play being in the home stadium. I feel like they're going to have the most passion in the entire world because USA fans show up. They really do. They really do.
They do.
But Mexican fans also show up.
Definitely for the U.S. and Mexico, all the games here are going to be home games.
Yeah.
But I'm just a little disappointed that I believe the World Cup final is going to be in Jersey.
Yeah, I think so.
And
MetLife? No.
MetLife, I think.
MetLife, yeah.
So I'm kind of gutted that they're not playing in Mexico City in Estadio Azteca because I don't know how many times I've said this. Like, obviously the soccer fans want to see like the 2 World Cups they had in Mexico City. Pele won the World Cup. Maradona won the World Cup. It's like two of the goats right there.
Yeah. And
then you're gonna go from that to a game in Jersey. It's like, damn.
Yeah.
There's levels to this, you know.
There is. Who do you think? Who do you think the goats would be of the next World Cup?
I definitely feel like this is France's World Cup coming up.
Yeah, they do have some.
They have so
young
many talented players. Like every position, they're stacked.
Yeah.
But who knows? I mean, I definitely do feel like there's always that one Cinderella story team. Why can't it be the U.S.? Why can't it be the U.S.? No, but definitely
there's always Spain.
Brazil haven't looked good recently.
Yeah.
Argentina, obviously, of course, they're strong. They're strong. There's a lot. Germany is very strong as well.
Mm-hmm.
Portugal as well. I think maybe
even Turkey can be pretty strong with Arda Güler. I mean, they've got a lot of good players spread across.
Colombia right now as well. They're playing really well.
Oh,
I'm excited.
Watching them in Copa America was very, very good. But I think Spain takes it.
You think Spain takes it?
I think an 18-year-old Lamine Yamal, fully healthy, if he's injured, they're not winning it. If he's healthy, I'm telling you, he's going to carry that entire team to the championship. Because he's going to have behind him Gavi, Pedri. He's going to have, who knows if Rodri's still playing. He's probably still going to be playing. Yeah. They're going to have the strongest 3 center mids you've ever seen. Yeah. Kind of just combining. And then you're going to have literally the most dangerous winger as Lamine Yamal, just one cut in and it's just over.
Then you got Iñaki Williams on the other side.
Yeah.
Rodri, he should win the Ballon d'Or this year.
You think so?
Best holding mid, best player, I think. It's exciting, dude. I'm telling you. I mean, we should definitely do a soccer podcast. We're going to go off on a tangent here and just go off on soccer.
This is what we're here for. I like it, though. Yeah. So, I mean, I think that Pochettino, going back to the U.S. National team coaching selection, I think that he can do a huge benefit to the United States and to the people. He also did say, I don't care about the fans and I don't care about anything else. I just want to I don't care about the players' feelings. He's like, I just want to win. That is a different approach to what we've always had. So that's another positive. What's your thoughts on that?
Definitely, the mentality. That's why you brought in the big coach. Greg Berhalter, I mean, I feel like it's definitely like a job resume. You're not going to apply for a job you're qualified for, and he somehow got it. I don't remember what kind of career he had playing, but coaching, I don't remember him having that great of a resume to be on the national team platform. But, I mean, you look back at some of the coaches the United States have had. Jurgen Klinsmann recruited a lot of German players. So it's also that tactical advantage we have. Like, the United States has an abundance of people from all over the world, dual nationals everywhere. Like, we definitely got to start.
It could pull a lot of players to commit.
I'm not sure if correct me if I'm wrong. I believe Cristiano Ronaldo's son is born in the United States. He could play for the U.S. and obviously,
I don't know.
Messi's kids are not American, but them playing here
and living here I don't know how many years. I don't know if you.
Because realistically, I'm not sure how old his oldest son is, but.
No, I'm sure he's young. He's still like 10, 13, 11, 12. Yeah. I mean, if you live here for however many years, there's some rules with that, right? I mean, I've heard of so many players that I was born in Spain, I lived there for 2 years, and when I was 2 years old, I moved to England, and I grew up England for the rest of my life. So I'm going to play for the England national team, and it's you could see that with these kids. They could play for Argentina, but they're probably born in Spain, if you think about it. If you think back 12 years.
Of course, yeah.
Are they really Argentinian at this point? So they could be playing for Spain or they could be playing for U.S. either way, I think this kids are gonna be awesome.
Yeah.
I also think that his investment in the youth club there in Inter Miami is going to lift up the investment in all of that area, and then lift the investment up in MLS Next that competes against Inter Miami, because you're going to have a youth club that's completely developed by Messi's kind of all of his amazing skills and achievements that rub off on him. So, yeah, I think it's hard to say that for like Greg Berhalter. It's hard to say like, oh, like he won the Champions League, or like I don't even know like what his you don't really know him as a name coach. You don't really know him as like someone who's won a lot of stuff. Like Jesse March, for instance, what he did with Canada was phenomenal, and you can listen to that name and you hear his name and you're like, yeah, like I've seen his achievements, I've heard his name. Like you heard Jurgen Klopp with what he did with Liverpool, you're like, yeah, I know who that is. Pep Guardiola, yeah, I know who that is. So bringing in a big name coach, I think is going to be super positive for us.
I actually was interested. Besides Poch, I think Thomas Tuchel would have been a great fit.
Yes,
because like we were just talking about like the big names in international soccer, and it's like they all have their style of soccer. Like obviously Brazil is, Joga Bonito, like all these other European teams are like very technical, and it's like we need to have an identity as well.
And I think the identity we've been building for the U.S. men's national team is pretty good. I would say that the quality just in like the tiniest moments just needs to increase.
Yeah.
And those tiniest moments get exploited by the best teams, and it punishes you, and that's one goal that you'll never get back, and then you lose the game. Like that's how good these teams really are, especially in the World Cup when they're playing at their best. So yeah, it's tough, but I think overall, if we can use him to elevate youth soccer, even if it's not in the 2026 World Cup, right?
Yeah, 26.
Even if it's not the 2026 World Cup, maybe it's the 2030 World Cup, where we truly, like 4 years after we take these kids from 12 to 14 to 16 to 18 to 20, and now you have 20-year-olds that are underneath a very positive development, a very positive environment of soccer with guidance from one of the best coaches in the world. I mean, everyone knows Mauricio Pochettino. So it's like that guidance could push us, if not this next World Cup, the ones in the future to elevate us. And I think one more thing that I want to get your opinion on is, do you think that the correlation between like American football and all of the crazy concussion stories that have come out and all of the CTE that we've been seeing, do you think the increase in that has also been like parents go straight to soccer instead of football because they don't want their kid to get injured?
It's interesting you bring that topic up, because getting licensed to coach youth soccer through the U.S. Soccer Federation, they bring up the fact that most kids, their first sport in the United States, obviously American children, is soccer. So like, how do you branch out to all these other sports? Definitely, the parents deciding that, but all kids at one point play soccer. So like, how do we get these kids to stick? Obviously, I'm not really familiar with American football, but I do see those stats that like it's increasing. And I heard recently the Miami QB,
Tua,
he's thinking about hanging up the boots, and it's like, I don't know. I mean, obviously, there's combat sports are not safe, but like football, it's like, it's difficult.
It's tough. I mean, you can have people who get nailed in the head constantly, and you could have someone who never has an injury ever. And taking that coin flip can be, as a parent, can be very like concerning. You're like sitting there like, do I want my kid that's 10 years old to play tackle football? There has been a very high increase in flag football, actually.
Yes.
Which has been obviously the alternative to tackle football, and then they do tackle football later when they get into high school or middle school, so where they're more developed, which I think is great for American football's development purposes. But for soccer's purposes, I do think that a lot of these parents have heard all these stories. They've heard of the Will Smith doctor. You remember
the 7 pounds, I believe it was called. The film.
I think so, yeah. And it was like him basically showing that these players, like they're basically committing suicide or some sort, or not being able to function as a human being just regularly because of the brain damage that they get from playing football. and then it turns parents to, well, what other sport can I play for my kids to enjoy? And I think that's soccer.
I know, I forgot what pathway it is, but there is like a course in U.S. soccer where it's like, I believe it's under U10. They don't want kids to head the ball.
It's actually U11 and under.
U11. Okay, there you go. U11 and under. So it's like, that's also benefiting the kids because now it's making them more tactically aware of like, hey, we got to be better with our feet instead of just punting the ball, So I remember you can probably relate to this growing up. It's like you definitely saw those teams that prioritized passing and like they were so good passing the ball. And then there's these other clubs where the teams were just like, all right, the defender grabs the ball and then
launch it all the time.
Always.
Yeah, and I think the biggest problem with youth soccer is all the parents wanting to win that game in that day. When you're 7, 8, 9, 10 years old, you don't remember I don't remember any game that I played when I was that age and I was like, I'm so glad we won that specific game. No, like the games that I remember are the ones that I play as an adult, or when I play as in high school, when we were playing for sectionals and regionals, and when we were going to state or whatnot, or if you went to state, or in college when you're playing against college buddies, or even just like fun games when you're in your adult league and you remember some free kick that you hit. Like you don't remember those games when you're 7, 8, 9, 10 years old, 11 years old, and the winning of like I need to win. It's like it's so dumb. They need to get rid of it, and it needs to be, how can I develop to be better every day, get a little bit better every day, and then the result of that development is winning. When the result of development is winning, that's when you see results. When you're just winning, and then you're like, okay, now we'll try to do this like when you're 13, 14 years old, and then at a point it's kind of too late because you just like, you're not developing 9, 10, 11, 12, and then when you get to 12, 13, and you go to 11v11, like a bigger field, those developments that you didn't do because you just launched it long on a super small 7v7 field, well, you can't do that on an 11v11 field anymore, so you're kind of just out of luck here. So I think that mentality, hopefully Pochettino brings it, but just the incremental development, I just think it's just the best. What's your thoughts?
You know what? I actually want to hear your thoughts as well because you've been a soccer coach as well. So it's like, I definitely can relate to that, especially from my playing career and our coaching career. It's like it discourages you because it's like, yes, obviously it's important winning and losing, but I feel like if you're implementing your style, I know an experience I had with the soccer club, I don't want to name the name, but it felt like that. It's like, hey, we have to win, but it's like it felt like that where there was no identity. The team had no identity, and there was just a talented group of players that needed to find an identity. I'm not saying I found their identity, but I was trying to help implement my style in the soccer culture there. And it's like, I feel like we found success. Although we didn't win a lot of games, we found success. And it's like when I left, hopefully I left a positive experience for these kids. But I mean, I just want to implement my style and have all these kids be confident being on the ball, because it was just an environment where, hey, you either the best kid dribbles the ball or you just punt the ball and Hail Mary it,
kicking and screaming, give it to the Italians,
exactly,
which is terrible. And then they did the right thing at the end, which was everything else, which was knocking the ball around and playing to each other. I mean, I think that the value of losing some games trying to do the right thing is, first of all, a valuable life lesson, because sometimes if you do the right things, you may lose something. You may lose some small monetary value of something. You may lose a little pride here and there, whatever, but you're doing the right thing, which is what we should teach these kids in the first place. But it also teaches, like, hey, like, we'll get there. Like, we'll get there. Like, you, like, opening up your hips and then, like, not hitting the ball fast enough, your body in the next year is going to be 3 inches taller. You're going to be a little bit stronger. You're going to be a little bit faster.
There's the coach in you.
Yeah, you're going to get there. And it's like, even though you did the right thing and you messed up, that's okay. Like, that's why we try it. And we have to keep trying and just failing. And that's why, like, I always say failing is FAIL, first attempt in learning. It's my favorite acronym. I tell everybody that whenever I coach.
Coach Jacob over here.
Yeah, you got to fail. First attempt in learning. You did it this way. Well, that's your first attempt in learning. Now you got to learn from that, and now you know what to do next, right?
Yeah.
And even if you keep doing it, keep making mistakes, you got to keep doing the right thing until you like figure it out and it becomes natural to you. So, because it's like, bro, these 12-year-olds and these 11-year-olds are like, I need to bend the ball and curl it top corner like this and that and this and that, and then like do this crazy trick. And it's like, okay, but when you're 18, what's going to matter the most to you? Is it going to be like making sure your first touch is good and you can release the ball and you read the patterns, you read the waves, or is it just this one little thing that you can do?
Do you think going back to the conversation we're having about Poch, is it also important the youth coaches? Like you and I are coaches, like we play a huge part in helping these kids develop. And we're talking about like the youngsters.
Yeah.
I feel like that's also the youth coaches need to step up. Because you definitely see, like, you know, I'm sure part district coaches are always a volunteer parent. Right. But we definitely need to have coaches that, A, either played soccer, B, have coaching experience, and just know what they're doing.
Yeah, I think the one thing that the U.S. finally has is that 40 to 60 age-year-old, the 46-year-olds generation of people who played soccer from when they were a kid. Mm-hmm. Those people that were older than them, they didn't really have the foundations to play travel soccer, the competitive at a high level. But the generation, like my parents' generation, that's kind of like a very strong generation that actually competed in soccer, the Lexi Lawless generation, that like one's a little bit older than them. And even though they didn't do that great, they weren't like amazing, stunning players, they played at high levels and were very competitive. And now they can easily pass along the information to the younger kids, just like us. I mean, we play even more than our parents that are that generation. And now we pass along more, hopefully even more information. Yeah. And then if we can just continue this cycle, we can grow it. It's just slowly going to grow. It might not be as quick as we want it to be. Mm-hmm. But I think that those youth coaches that don't know what they're doing, like, the ones now that do know what they're doing, that are volunteers, that are just like, I'm going to coach my daughter's team. I played at, Judson University, or I played at Parkside or whatever. I played D3 or D1 or D2. Mm-hmm. Like they know exactly what to do. They know what to train. They know like how to teach these little kids the basics. And then it's going to be like them hanging out with their kids more. So like that generation helping grow the information is going to be huge. And also, I know some clubs that they have like training sessions for the coaches. So they bring the coaches in and they're like, hey, this is what you should be teaching. You should be teaching this. Even though like they're volunteers, they still get like the information from a licensed coach. And like B licensed or an A licensed coach teaching these people like, hey, like make them, you want to do a little warm up, a little dynamic warm up. You want to do like game like decisions, you want to do game like activities, you want to do and then they'd show them examples of how to like run a session, which you wouldn't get that 30 years ago. You would just get a volunteer AYSO coach, be like, you go play that position, go have fun. And it's like now it's like
Pharaoh and kicking and screaming right there.
Exactly. So we'll see. What are your best tips for the kids when you coach? Like what's your strategy?
Honestly, that's based on the conversation we're having. That's what motivated me to continue to grow Fernando Soccer Shop and be a coach. It's like, as a kid, your parents or coaches are not, obviously kids today are better than the players that when we were kids. And same thing with coaching. So it's like when I focus a lot of my training, I guess I would categorize that as supplemental training, is getting the maximum amount of touches on that soccer ball. Because I feel like that would make the 4 to 6 year old range flourish as they grow. It's like, instead of like focusing on skills, yes, develop those skills, but it's like get comfortable with that soccer ball. Yeah. Because that's why we're falling behind with these other huge name, countries that from an early stage, these kids are really comfortable touching the ball, like having that ball on their feet. And I feel like you might relate to this. You've seen a lot of soccer players, they want to do everything in their power to not have the ball on their feet. Right. As soon as they get it, they just want to get rid of it. It's like, no, like you need to be comfortable with that ball. Like, pick up your head, Open those hips, like you
Open
just
those
said.
hips,
Open
yeah.
those hips.
Yeah, I think so. It's funny because as you grow older, it's kind of like opposite, but it's the same. So when you're super young, obviously you want to have the ball at your feet, and you want your kid to basically be walking around the house with the ball at his foot and not let it fall away from him, where he has to like reach for it and like basically lose it. And then it's funny because as you get older, that comfortability actually allows you to do less touches in a game, which sounds bananas, but it's like as you get older, 17, 18 years old, you're so comfortable with the ball at your foot, you get the ball at your feet, you push it out, and you push the ball to the next teammate because it's controlled in your foot. You pull defenders in and you release the ball and go to the next play. But you could also put the ball at your feet and go at them. So you have both decisions.
Yeah.
And I think that sometimes people miss out on that because they do the Pep Guardiola system where they're like pass and move, pass, pass, pass. And then you got kids that don't even know how to dribble the ball. So like, I think if you start the kids at the young age dribbling the ball, putting it at their feet, basically they're walking around with the ball at all times and it doesn't even leave their 3-foot vicinity, it's going to be beneficial for them when they're 15, 16, 17 years old, because then they're going to be able to dribble, but also be able to touch, control, and release. So they can do both to get out of any situation, which is what football is. I mean, it's either dribble, release the ball, shoot. There's four, what is it, the fourth thing? It's pass, dribble, shoot, and then I forget the other one is.
We're letting U.S. soccer coaching down right now. We don't know the 4.
We don't know the 4. We're letting them down. I think it only might be 3.
I think it might be 3. Yeah.
Pass, dribble, shoot. Yeah, I think so. I think that's basically it. Yeah, because there's so many things you can do with each one of those 3 categories, but that's basically the 3. And then there's also like the 6 transitions, but we don't have to get into that. We don't have to run a U.S. soccer coach here.
Of course.
But that's all good. Yeah, I do think overall the coaching has definitely elevated a lot since the past generation, and hopefully the next generation can take over and coach the next generation after that and elevate it even further, so we can get guys like Calvin Sullivan, I believe his name is, from Philadelphia, and have a 14-year-old when he's 16 years old be able to play for the national team. Hopefully he makes his debut at the World Cup stage like Lamine Yamal in the Euros, and just dominate. Like, I would love to see him come out and Pochettino starts him and he's like the best player on our team. I would love to see that.
I wish soccer here in the U.S. was, especially with Poch, I hope things go the right way, of course, but it's like rewarding players based on their form, and you see that in other footballing nations. It's like there's no way if Lamine Yamal was American, he wouldn't be playing. He wouldn't be starting. So it's like, why is it that Endrick, like at 17, playing for Brazil, Lamine Yamal, who else is a big name player?
Pedri when he was 17 as well.
So it's like all these other countries are giving their players a chance. Like, who else? I'm blanking.
Holland was another one.
Yeah, and it's like
he was scoring goals left and right when he was 17.
So it's like if these players are young, although they're young, like they're hungry. And I think Pulisic debuted young with the U.S.
He was, I think, 17 or 18, but he was in the European program. So it's like he was in Europe with Chelsea, developing in their academy, and it's like the U.S. is like, all right, let's play him. Like, he's obviously going to be pretty good. Brought him to training with the first team. He played. He probably balled out in training and destroyed some kids. And then they were like, okay, we're going to play him. So I think you got to just give him a chance. And I think the one thing that's like people don't understand is that these first teams at Man City, they train with the 18 and 19-year-olds in the academy team. Like, they are in the same training group. Like, they all come together, and there's like 30 people, and they all train together and learning. And he's going against Erling Haaland, and it's like, if you go against Erling Haaland in a couple training sessions, you're gonna learn how to get better very fast.
Of course.
And like us hopefully getting to that point will hopefully allow like someone like Calvin Sullivan to actually thrive in that situation. He is still 14 though. He's still young. Like, he's like, when he turns 16, I really hope he has a debut and like in form and is ready to go. But I think that we really do need to just take these youth players and give them the experience that they need.
Yeah, of course. And it's like we have to be better quicker because a lot of these dual national kids are getting called up, and we might lose them. So it's like, again, it's can we build a culture where, like let's say, hey, it's okay for you to get called up with that other camp, with that other national team camp, but it's like we gotta, again, it's like based on my theory that, hey, if we reward these kids based on their form, I think our national team would be better. Because I know recently, like we touched base on it, the U.S. is playing terrible right now. How about we give some new guys a look instead of giving the same rotation of players? Like I know Gaga although he's playing in the third tier in England, he's killing it right now.
Yeah.
So it's like, hey,
I mean, even like not to crap on Turner, but like we need very high quality players, and I think that there's some youth goalkeepers that we have at the U.S. national team level that are going to be very, very good. And I think we got to start transitioning. Hopefully Pochettino does that and he's aware of that, but we got to start transitioning into newer folk to give them an opportunity. And it's tough sometimes because like they do get the opportunity, but it's like when no one's watching and no one really cares, and also the competition's low. Like during the season when there's like national team friendlies and all the players in Europe are still playing in their teams, they're not leaving their teams to go play a friendly match. So you have that opportunity for younger kids to go there, but they're just not getting the competition they need. Like they need to go against these top tier European clubs, or else we're not going to be able to develop. We're not going to be ready for that, and we're not going to have the experience for that.
Something I do like the U.S. does, they have that January camp. So it's like I feel like it would benefit them more. Like why not make two camps? Like one domestic MLS based camp, and let the European guys just stay in Europe. Like let's focus on what we have here. Like we already know what Pulisic's got.
Yeah.
But I want to see who can replace Pulisic here in the MLS. Like who's someone that can compete with him. And it's like when you keep looking at the same guys, it's like you and I could probably come up with the starting lineup of the U.S. national team, but it's like, can we identify 22 of the best domestic players in the MLS? Probably not. So it's like we gotta focus on here because the league is developing. Like we obviously have Messi here for a reason. We have a lot of good players, and I don't know if you've seen. I would definitely say the MLS is more competitive and more attractive now than Liga MX.
Yeah,
and it's like
it didn't used to be that way though.
It
did not used to be that way.
Like now it's a more appealing league for sure. And it's like you see these clubs pickpocketing talented South American talent. Like we can talk about the Chicago Fire. We had John Duran, who's killing it at Aston Villa now. And obviously Gaga Solina, and it's like these players, like John Duran went from a very, I want to say modest mid-table team, like the Chicago Fire, and now he's gonna be playing Champions League soccer and with Aston Villa, and he just scored that banger. So it's like it could be done.
It can be done.
It could be done.
Which is awesome. I mean, even Chris Mueller went and played in Ireland for a little bit, I believe. Or was it Scotland or Ireland?
Scotland.
I think it was Scotland.
Scotland,
yeah. So he played there for a year, and even that experience, I'm sure, allowed him to come back and just absolutely dominate again.
Yeah.
And again, we're bringing youth Greek players with Koutas for Chicago Fire, and we're bringing a lot of the youth men's national team players like in Miami with I forget his name. Oh, long curly hair guy.
Kameshi?
Yeah, Kameshi. Yeah. He's he again balled out in the Olympics. So it's like we're seeing all these players just kind of develop, and I think it's the structure of the U.S. has gotten a lot better. I still think it needs a lot of work though.
It does.
Because I mean, even at the level that we played at, like with FC Select or Power, whoever we were playing with, I think the structure here just needs so much work. There's no way to go up. I think if we had the tier system, I've always argued for it. I think it'd be super cool to have a local team enter into the MLS, compete against another MLS team, and it just like taking a Division 3 team or whatever, like Wrexham, and pushing them up and promoting them. Like I think that story could be so cool in the United States, but it's like not even possible with the way we structure things right now.
Have you heard? I think there's a pub team. I think I saw it on Instagram. I think they're in Gibraltar. It's like literally a bar sanctioned a team, and
Okay.
they competed in the Europa League qualifiers, I think. And it's like, that must be awesome.
Yeah.
Like, based on what you're saying, like, that would be dope.
Right.
Like, but it's like, we're such a developed country. It's like, what are we missing? It's that intangible we're missing. That all these other countries can do it.
It's not missing. It's we have too much American in us, and we go with the super leagues like the NFL, because like it's really just pay to enter. That's all it is. It's just entry fee is this much. You want to pay it, you're in. If you don't, then you're not in. And I feel like that should change into something where it's more earned rather than you just buying in on something. Because I feel like if you had a team, and some teams that get promoted actually can't afford promotion, and so they don't pay for it. So some teams that are in like Division 5 and go to 4 and say it's like 10 grand more, 20 grand more, and they're that bar team that's sponsored by a bar, like the bar can't afford the extra 20, 30 grand. It's like our revenue for the year is like 400 grand. We make only like 100 grand profit or something like that. It's like that's our half of our profit or something like that.
I think it makes like it makes you appreciate soccer more, because I remember, correct me if I'm wrong, that small team that got promoted to the Premier League last season, that their stadium's capacity was like 9,000.
Yeah.
Like that, like just like for the fans.
Yeah.
Like you go from like this small, modest stadium and you're hosting like Man City, Chelsea, Man
even
United.
Man City was a small team.
Yeah.
Even Man City was in Division 3, Division 2. And there's a story of a man who's actually a fan of Man City, and he said that he went to all the games all the time, and his mom was just like, what are you doing? Why are you wasting your time on this team? This team has given you nothing. What's the point? They changed their ownership management. They brought in a lot more money, obviously, but it's not pay to enter. It's pay to buy players, to bring in players, to develop a team, and the team has to perform. If the team doesn't perform, you don't get promoted. That's just how it works. But if you have a team that doesn't perform in the MLS, you're still in the MLS, which doesn't make sense to me. So you have this Man City team that this is years back, but then they just brought in all the money. They brought in some more players, and then they got promoted. They brought in some more players, and then they got promoted again to the Premier League. And then they just started getting in more players, and they get Pep Guardiola in, and they just created one of the best Premier League teams that we've ever seen, winning 3 premierships in a row. And it's like that story, not a lot of people hear. They don't hear about Man City in Division 2 and Division 3 like suffering and not doing that great and losing games and not getting promotion. They just hear, oh, they won 3 years in a row. They're a super team. Like, they're the best of the best. Like, the fact that that fan has that story makes it so much cooler that Man City's now winning all these trebles and these championships. It's so much cooler. Where Chicago Fire, it's like,
don't get me started on the Chicago Fire.
We're not there yet. But I think that our league is so young. It's so young. But it's just, I don't think it's structured for success yet.
I just feel like, based on what we're talking about, this promotion relegation system that we don't have here, it's like there's no excuse for us not to be developing talent then. If no team gets relegated.
Right.
And that's like, we can go off on another tangent talking about the Chicago Fire, because like, I'm not sure what is going on with the Chicago Fire. Like, there's so much talent. Yeah.
In the Chicagoland area.
In the Chicagoland area. And it's like,
we have like ranked like second in the state of like Iowa teams playing against some of our teams in the local suburbs of Chicago. And we beat them 2-0. And we're not even like ranked.
Yeah.
And we beat the second team ranked in Iowa, like one of the top 5 teams in Iowa. Supposed to be the best of the best. We beat them 2-0, 3-0 easy, like light work. And it's like that just shows how skillful the Chicagoland area is in terms of soccer. And the Chicago Fire has kind of failed on youth development, I feel like. Yes. They've switched and flopped around a lot, and I feel like they should just stick to one thing and kind of go for it. So.
Yeah. And I've always said, like, I mean, although they're terrible, I'd rather go support an 11 of homegrown players versus seeing some of these players, they come in and it's like, who are you? Like this new signing from Belgium, the striker, Kuipers. I'm like,
he's decent.
He looked good on paper, but
he's actually pretty decent.
He's pretty good, but it's like, who else? Like Gaston Jimenez, came like the holding mid. He's like a DP player, and it's like, come on, guys. We're such a big market. We're such a big market. Like besides Chicago, what else? New York. I think we're the third biggest market in the United States.
Yeah, Chicago, New York, LA, and I feel like Inter Miami is just kind of. Oh yeah, it's got to be there.
It's got to be there.
Everyone's gonna move to Inter Miami's area just to be in the club. Yeah. You better make that team. I'm gonna need a picture with Messi. Like.
That's literally why I have the pink jersey here. It's because of Inter Miami now and Messi. Yeah.
Yeah, I bought a jersey out 100%. I mean, there's so many jerseys, Messi jerseys, and he didn't even show up for the Chicago Fire game, which is so tragic. 2 years in a row. 2 years in a row. Messi, just come to Chicago.
I don't know how many calls I got from like their sales reps, like to come to the games. I got so many emails, and I'm like, he's not gonna come, and
lo and behold, we did get a Jason Derulo concert out of it though. So that was bad. I saw that. It was pretty good.
Did you go to the game?
Yeah.
How was the atmosphere?
It was good. It was loud. Like watching Busquets, crazy. Yeah.
He has to be top 5 greatest holding mids. All time.
Watching Suarez, first of all, limp across the field. When he walks, he limps. He looks like he's hurt. Mm-hmm. And then he'll just make the best run like you could ever see, and he's always smart and he's on it, and he's like, and then you're just like, he just scored. How did that happen? Yeah. And he just moves around so swiftly and so smoothly, and seeing that class firsthand, it just shows the difference between an MLS player and like what a Liverpool legend, Barcelona legend looks like. And he's in the end of his career. Like him at his prime at Liverpool or prime at Barcelona, I can only imagine like just the skill that he has. It's crazy to me that the difference is so large that when they're older, they can still perform at such a high level. So,
yeah, it's crazy. And that's something I didn't like personally, seeing how they advertised everything with Messi here in Chicago, and it's like, he's not our player though. Like I get it, it's Messi, but like I would see in the billboards, I'm not sure if you've seen them, it's like Messi and then Guti. Yeah. But it's like Guti should be right there.
Number 1.
Yeah, number
he's
1.
A homegrown.
He's a homegrown. He's
Chicago.
They're playing in Chicago.
It's and like Chris Mueller too.
Chris Mueller, yeah.
Come on, guys.
The Fire needs to give us a call, man. Yeah. I would love to help out.
I had bought season tickets this year, and I was.
Oh, you did?
I went to a lot of games, supported them, and the atmosphere is just not quite there. It's just the stadium's kind of half empty sometimes. It's like people would rather do something else with their Saturday night other than go to the game. It's just tough to get people really into it, where you see people go to these Bears games or these Kansas City Chiefs games, and that stadium is full to the brim, and it's ridiculous how loud it is in that stadium every single weekend. Yeah. Every single weekend. We have to try to do something to get to that culture. Hopefully the World Cup can flip the switch and we can be good after that, and we can just...
I feel like what the Fire did wrong was just move out of SeatGeek Stadium.
Yeah.
That was like their biggest downfall. Because, like, don't get me wrong, I know the White Sox are terrible, but I like going to the games. Yeah. The atmosphere is great. It's always packed. Although this is probably the worst team in MLB history.
Say that might be a cold take this year because they had the lowest attendance because they performed so poorly. But I know what you mean.
It's like, obviously, I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm not a huge fan, but I went to like the Cubs, the Crosstown Classic. Okay. And like those games are just
at the White Sox Stadium.
Yeah, at White Sox. It's like it's great.
I like the White Sox Stadium. I like the way it's set up. Easy parking lot, easy parking. Walk up to the stadium. Stadium's great. I think the stadium itself is pretty modern. I mean, it's not nothing. You don't need anything too crazy. You don't need anything too basic. It's just the perfect in between of a modern stadium, and I like the atmosphere there. I've gone. My brother's a Sox fan, so I go there for the Sox. But I'm a Cubs fan. I'm going to Wrigley on the 21st this month, so I do like Wrigley Field better just because it's the classic of Wrigley Field. Yeah. I mean, it's just so classic.
Of course.
But the Sox stadium, it's great. I think that SeatGeek definitely would have been better for the Fire, just to build the fan base around it and then make it loud, or make the stadium like look smaller. Like, you see all these European stadiums, and they're, like, on top of the field. You're, like, on top of the players. They should do that. They should not make it, like, spread out. They should push it and make it super condensed so that you have that like game, like almost like you're in the game,
Yeah.
and the player's like right next to you, and you can like basically 2-3 arms length away from touching the players from the front row.
Yeah.
And that would make it so much like you'd feel like you're part of the game, part of the team. And even if you make it smaller and have less people in the stands, like that atmosphere is probably so much better than it being spread out and so open.
We just need to have a run, like a good run. Like
Yeah.
when like Messi comes or like all these big name players come to Chicago, like everyone shows up. So it's not them not showing up. It's just like we need something going on. It seems like they're always doing terrible.
My prediction is Lewandowski comes to Chicago. That's my prediction.
You know, they need to bring in like
That's my prediction.
Italian, Polish, or Mexican player.
That we have so many people around this area that would embrace them like their savior.
Yeah.
Like even Bastian came, and Bastian got a pretty good welcoming, but he's
think
German.
Think about it. Like he was a huge player, and like I think that was the last time the Fire were good. I think we made a playoff run.
That, and then before that, the Blanco era.
Oh man,
that
was the golden generation. That was
I don't know how he did it, man. He was just like this, like mid-sized regular Mexican dude. He just balled out every game. Yeah. You're like, nah, he's not gonna score. And then 5 minutes later, he put the ball in the back of the net.
I gotta share the story. So, I have the ticket in my room. I think it was in 09 or 08. It was against the San Jose Earthquakes. And I remember as a kid, like, obviously I'm a Club America fan, and he's probably the biggest player that came out of Club America. And it's like, I know with the Mexican demographic, it's like, regardless if you were a Chivas, Cruz Azul, Pumas, whatever team you supported, Blanco was here. Everyone supported Blanco. And that was nice. And I remember, going back on this game, I think he scored a goal. I think he scored a free kick or a penalty. But I remember he scored, and I remember he got subbed out, I want to say maybe in like later stages, like the 70th or 80th minute, around there. But he didn't play the full 90. And I remember my grandmother was going to Mexico. So I was with my dad and my brother, and I forgot who else I was with, but he's like, all right, let's go. Like, I think the Fire already sealed the win. It was like 3-1 at this point. So we go to O'Hare. And my cousin, shout out to Hira, I believe he was behind Blanco. And he's like, is this Cuauhtémoc Blanco? And nonchalantly noticed, he was so nonchalant about it. It was Cuauhtémoc Blanco in line.
Wow.
And he was also, I'm not sure what part of Mexico he was heading to. And as soon as we identified him, we just took pictures with him. And then once people got to just like, hey, it's Blanco, like you saw everyone at O'Hare just go towards this guy, towards this short Mexican guy. And it's like, dude, he balled out in the Fire. Like, I feel like that was the last time we had such a big name player. Although he was with the club briefly, like he was a stud.
Yeah. And you've had other big players, but they haven't brought the crowd in. Yeah. Like watching Shaqiri has definitely brought an okay crowd in, and he's a great player. He's really, really good. Also, I love the stat where it's like if you only look at his European stats, his Euro stats, you would consider him the best player in the world. I think that's hilarious. Have you ever seen that before?
I haven't seen that one, no.
So it's like if you only look at his Euro stats compared to everyone else's, he would be considered like the Ballon d'Or of everything because he always scores. He always gets multiple goals. He gets assists. He performs.
He gets crazy goals, too.
He gets crazy goals, too. And it's always like only in the Euros.
Or like in the World Cup. In the World Cup, too.
Yeah.
I remember it was cold where he scored. I think it was him and Shaka. They have Albanian heritage or something. And when they played against Serbia, when they did the eagle, that was so cold. Yeah. I was like, that was it right there.
That's it right there.
But then in the Fire, he's like, I don't know.
He was okay. He wasn't like a game changer, though. No. Which is tough because you need like a true game changer. And I think the Fire have definitely built a decent team. They've developed these players enough to where they can be okay. Yeah. But they're not performing at a level where it's like, I know that this team's going to win every single weekend, or I know this team's going to be fun to watch every single weekend. They struggle to score. They struggle to get advanced scoring opportunities because they just wait on the other team's mistakes. And then Bastian brought a decent crowd too, but nothing like Blanco. Blanco was just beyond recognition of just all the Mexican fans flooded in, and everyone wanted to see him score. And even when he wasn't starting and he came on, everyone was waiting for him to come on in that 60th minute or whatever. And once he would step up to the line, everyone would go nuts.
Yeah.
And then he came on, and he just puts the ball in the back of the net.
Oh.
It's awesome. It's ridiculous.
He was him.
Yeah, Himothy University. Who do you think the Chicago Fire could bring on to be that player? Who do you think would first of all come over here to be that player? I think Lewandowski is one of them, but I don't know what your thoughts are.
Lewandowski would be a good signing, but like you see his decline now, and it's going back to what we were just saying. Like Chicago is such a big market, like across all the big sports here in Chicago. Like we're just terrible right now, and I don't understand why. Like,
yeah,
we're so proud to say we're from Chicago, but like these teams are just terrible. And you can see the Bulls are terrible, like the Cubs, the White Sox. I mean, I know I'm not really a big hockey guy, but I know the Blackhawks have that one stud kid.
They have Connor Bedard, and they also have another new guy that's pretty good too. So they have two new guys that are very young, 18 and like 20, I think. Very good players. They're going to develop a team, and hopefully in the next 2 to 3 years they can be competing for Stanley Cups easily. Yeah. That's my hope, and he loves it here. Connor Bedard loves it in Chicago. We've welcomed him like a king, which is great, which was what we should do for all the top prospect players that we do get for MLS, Cubs, Sox, Bears, everything. Like even Caleb Williams right now. Hopefully this is the year that we can get the Bears to be finally good for once.
Hopefully.
I mean, I don't know what the result of the game is from tonight, but hopefully we can get to that next level where it's like we bring in these players, we sign these players, we draft these players, and we really treat them like, give them the Chicago way instead of the Chicago cold shoulder, and just give them the confidence to perform for the fans. And then once they perform, it's like a huge celebration. I mean, the Blackhawks celebrations were insane. The Chicago Cubs parade was insane.
I remember that. That was insane.
Like it's we have to start uplifting these guys, but yeah, the Chicago Fire has never had that moment. The Cubs have had that moment. The White Sox have had that moment in 2005. The Bears have had that moment in 85 and in what was that, like 2008 or 2009, whatever, when they went to the
Super Bowl,
Super Bowl, yeah. And then the Chicago Blackhawks, obviously we talked about those. The Bulls, obviously Michael Jordan and the 6 rings. I mean, that's, and even the D Rose era was like, so prominent. But the Chicago Fire have never gotten that moment. And I feel like with the amount of soccer support in the area, I feel like it's just like, it's got to be coming soon.
Yeah.
But then you got freaking Messi at Inter Miami. It's like, how do you beat Messi in a MLS Cup final with Sergio Busquets and Suarez? It's like you're against Barcelona, basically.
I feel like, going back to where piggybacking, like the Lewandowski, like besides Lewandowski, who do you think would be a good game changer to come here? Because you asked me the question, I'm honestly blanking. I don't know who would be a good fit here.
Yeah.
It's difficult. Like, based on what I said, I definitely feel like he has to be either Polish, Italian, or Mexican. But it's like,
even Frankowski came here and he was Polish,
and he did really well.
He's like very well.
I know he's playing. I think it's Lens right now.
Yeah, he's playing in Europe again.
And he's playing really well.
Yeah, and he played on the national team and did really well on the national team as well.
Yeah.
So he was another good player, but he doesn't have that name, that name and likeness, where it's like, this is the guy. Like, it's like, oh, you hear Messi? You know exactly who Messi is.
Yeah.
I don't know if Ronaldo would ever do it. I don't think he would ever do it.
No.
But it would be awesome if he did.
I feel like it's the little kid in me, like, I don't know how they haven't linked both of Messi and Cristiano in the team.
I thought they were going to try to do something after his contract in Saudi Arabia ended, but I think he's going for 1,000 goals. He's not going to leave.
He has to.
He's not going to leave the major leagues until he gets 1,000 goals. He's just finished 900 and he's going to go for it. 100%. And he's going to get it. I mean, you look at the way his fitness levels are, everything. But yeah, I don't think he's coming to the U.S. I would probably say it would have to be someone like a Neymar, honestly.
I was going to say Neymar, yeah.
It honestly has to be someone like him. And he'll just come to Chicago and everyone and their brother will love him. But then again, he's always played in Spain or like Paris. I guess Paris is kind of cold in the winter. You got to think about like winter. Like,
yeah, I know.
He's going to hate it here.
He is going to hate it here. We just need someone that Western European.
Yeah. So like someone from Portugal, you're thinking, or
like Portugal, Spain. Like I know, I'm not sure if it's true. Like they always say in England or in London, the sun you never see the sun.
Yeah.
It's always very cloudy. The weather's just very terrible.
So you think someone from London could come over here?
I guess someone who's used to shitty weather,
Yeah. Maybe like a Kevin De Bruyne. Would you imagine?
Yeah,
imagine that. KDB on the Chicago Fire.
KDB.
Oh, that would be so much fun to watch. I would definitely go to a lot of the games.
Yeah.
Because you just sit there and watch him make a pass, and you'd be like, that's the best pass in the world. Even if it was like a 5-yard pass, that's the best pass in the world. I think you gotta bring in like a really big name, like a KDB, like an Erling Haaland, maybe later in his career, like way later in his career. Just someone that people recognize, where they hear that name and they're like, yeah, I know exactly who that is. Because even I was at the Fire game, the Suarez Fire game with Inter Miami, and the person I was sitting next to had no idea who Luis Suarez was. And she knew exactly who Messi was, and I was like, so you seriously don't know who Luis Suarez is, who just scored that absolute banger there? She was like, no, like, who's that? I was like, let me just show you one Liverpool highlight.
Yeah.
Pulled up the Liverpool video of him hitting a 60-yard
Against
goal
Norwich City.
Against Norwich City.
Yeah.
And she's like, that's him? I was like, oh, and he played for Barcelona too. And she's like, I was like, you know what MSN is, right? And she's like, no, what's that? I was like, oh, let me tell you.
You know what?
It was a blessing to be alive during MSN.
I think in that era, if you look at the stats, because you mentioned like the stats, Suarez has the best stats.
Oh, the best.
For Barca.
Yeah.
Like better than Messi. And
that's
why I sometimes lean towards Ronaldo though, Cristiano Ronaldo, because it's like we're talking about 1,000 goals. And think about it, Ronaldo was in Madrid for how long? 9 years? 8 years?
I think 9.
And his stats were like, obviously Messi
Unreal.
has supposed to, he played in Barcelona.
Yeah.
All but 3 seasons in his career. It's like, of course, his stats need to be better than Ronaldo, but like what Cristiano did in Real Madrid is crazy. I think he had more goals and appearances in Madrid.
I think Messi probably had the same. That sounds about right. But I think that it really is 2 GOATs. I really don't think there's a debate. I think there's 2. There's no way you can debate these 2 anymore, because they've both won so many accolades and they've both taken over a stage and competed against each other at the highest stage, and they've both won against each other both ways, whether Messi winning or Ronaldo winning, both ways. And it's like 900 goals is crazy. If he gets to 1,000 goals, he's literally going to be, he already is the best goal scorer we've ever seen, ever. Yeah. And I think that he'll have that. But then it's like, you can debate that Messi's the better footballer, the better player, the better technique. He's also 5'8", 5'7", or whatever. He's super short. And Ronaldo's like 6'1" or 6'2", I believe. So it's like, you could talk about that aspect. There's so many things you could debate, but overall, it's the 2 at the top and everyone else is miles below them.
True.
For sure.
And it's also the debate of like this one hardworking, talented player and the other one's just naturally gifted. And everyone knows who you're talking about.
And it's funny because, dude, there's no way he's that naturally gifted. He definitely worked so hard in his life, but people always just nonchalantly push that off. He has worked so hard in his life all the time, and people just are like, Ronaldo obviously is the product of insanely hard work all the time and insanely like nutrition and training and development and everything and gym. And Messi, he definitely did that as well. Like, no one can doubt that. But like, people don't really bring light to that. They're always like, oh, he's just so naturally good. Like, he basically didn't have to do anything, and they make it kind of seem like he didn't train at all or he didn't like work or anything. But he definitely did. The funniest story about Messi, though, is that they had to take away. There's a soda machine at the Barcelona camp, and they had to take it away because he used to drink soda all the time.
And I was going to bring up, I think
just hilarious.
The season he scored 91 goals, I think he was at his heaviest weight. Like, he was so unfit.
Yeah.
And he scored 91 goals.
It's crazy.
That's crazy.
He's beyond football. It's crazy how
his soccer IQ is crazy.
Yeah. The way he can find passes and that no one even sees. People think that they could see those passes in games. When you're running that fast, when you're in that heat of the moment, like when things are going on around you, you see passes here and there, but some of these passes you definitely would never see in games.
Like, I remember I was with my cousin. We went to this restaurant when he debuted against Cruz Azul last year. Like, I remember as soon as he came on, that free kick goal, like, I was like, wow. And obviously this is him. I'm not sure. How old is he? He's 37?
37, I think, yeah.
And it's like, wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Like, he's doing it here.
I remember I Show Speed when he took a video. He took a selfie video, and he was like, yo, he's like, Cristiano, like yelling, like, and then he's like, watch, Messi gonna score in 3 minutes, and then he just absolute. And then I Show Speed was definitely a Messi fan from that day forward.
And it's crazy how I Show Speed just making that those videos, right? Like incorrectly saying the players' names now.
Yeah.
He's like big in soccer.
Yeah,
And he's met all these players.
It was a Twitch comment, like a donation, and it was just like, who's your favorite soccer player? And he was just gaming. He's like Cristiano. Like, he just said that just to say it. And like then he started doing more research, and then he started like looking up all these videos, and then he got to the point where Rafael Leao is literally introducing him to Ronaldo. Yeah, which is one of the coolest stories that you've seen from football, because not everybody has, first of all, the opportunity to ever meet Ronaldo ever. Like that is crazy, because he doesn't even live in the United States. First of all, for all of us in the U.S. Yeah, and it's also like, even streamers and famous people don't even meet these insane, highly accoladed athletes. And the fact that he was able to do that after like 2 years or a year or whatever.
Literally from a Twitch comment, right?
I know.
Like,
it's so cool.
Why can't that happen to us? You know?
My Twitch comment right now, Cristiano. But yeah, I brought this out just to bring it out and try it. You want to try them and give a little taste test now that we're on the kind of topic of Messi?
Let's do it. Yeah.
So for people who don't know, this is Mas by Messi. We have no sponsorship affiliation. I just bought this when it first came out because I was like, I want to try it out.
Well, actually, no. Messi called you before we started this podcast, right?
Yeah, Messi called me. Yeah. Allegedly, he called me, and he was like, "Hey, Jacob, you know, you're one of my best friends. We've been best friends, you know, since you were born, and I got you this box of nutrition. So we're gonna open it up. We're gonna try a different. We'll try. I think there's 2 or 3 flavors in here. Let's just try 2 of them and see how it goes. Yeah. Let's do it. Okay. Oh, sweet. All right, we're definitely gonna read this.
Go ahead.
All right. Dear friend, to achieve my goals, I learned that hydration plays a very important role for our health. I've always been about improvement and wanted to find a drink with both amazing taste and the right ingredients I need to be my best. So I went to work on a drink of my own. One with more of the positive benefits and flavors I love, a drink I feel is better for my family and friends. I'm calling it Mas, which means more in Spanish, because that's what my life and career are about. We can achieve more, and everyone deserves to feel like a champion. Vamos, which is Let's Go by Lionel Messi, the founder. This is awesome.
That very personal.
We got the Spanish version too on the backside.
Nice.
Para lograr mis objetivos, aprendí que la hidratación juega un rol muy importante para nuestra salud. You seen that?
Hey,
that's nice.
You took some Spanish classes.
I can read Spanish. All right. We got. Okay, let's just pull these all out. We got Miami Punch. We got Berry Copa Crush. I like this sound. Okay. I like that. Okay. We got Limon Lime. Limon Lime League. I'm guessing that's like La Liga or something like that. And we got Orange Dior. Oh man. Like Ballon d'Or, but Orange Dior.
Orange Dior.
All right. Let's do one.
Which one do you want to try?
I'm feeling
the Orange Dior
just because it's the Ballon d'Or.
I'm feeling with my pink shirt. I gotta go with the Miami one.
All right, let's do it. All right, so we'll do Dave Portnoy ratings out of 10, decimal points, no solid numbers. Let's see. I mean, I'm a big fan of Prime hydration, so yeah, you go first. Go ahead.
Ready? Cheers.
Cheers. Sweet
Thanks,
deal.
Messi.
Gracias, Messi.
Initial thoughts.
Initial thoughts.
Gotta get some more, right?
Honestly, I'm probably gonna give this one a low rating. I'm probably thinking like a 6.2.
It tastes like electrolyte. A little bit.
Yeah,
Like
you can
electrolyte.
definitely tell the electrolytes on this one.
4 electrolytes: sodium, magnesium, potassium, calcium.
I feel like this might be one where the more you drink it, the more you like it. Also, it does taste like orange, so if you do like an orange kind of flavor, it definitely has that.
I'm not sure what this tastes like.
Miami Punch, more like fruit punch, or
It's got vegetable juice.
yeah, you can definitely taste that. Caffeine free, gluten free. 10 calories per bottle, 4 electrolytes, 6 vitamins, 3 antioxidants, 5 minerals, and 1 gram of cane sugar.
But you know what? Based on our sponsorship deal, Mas, guys, keep killing it. Keep doing what you guys do.
All right, what's your rating out of 10 for the Miami Punch?
A 6 out of 10.
6 out of 10.
But I could definitely see this being a 10 out of 10. Enjoying this Miami Punch in South Beach.
Yeah,
By the
I feel like
by the beach right there, of course.
I feel like those two right there are the secret ones that we're just not hitting. That are probably the best ones. Well, should we crank them open?
I think we should at this point.
Yeah, we're cranking them open.
All right.
Let's do it. You want that one? Okay. All right. So this one is Berry Copa Crush.
This one's Limon Lime League.
Okay. All right.
All right.
This one already smells phenomenal. Okay. Interesting.
Way better.
Way better?
Yeah.
This one's way better than the orange one, but it's still like it's like the taste is so soft where I kind of like it. It definitely feels like a watery hydration drink. Like I would, if I ran, I would definitely want this over the orange Dior. I would probably give this one probably an 8.1. 8.1.
8.1.
Yeah.
I'll give this definitely tastier than the Miami Punch. This one does give me same electrolyte vibes, but yeah, I agree with you. After a good run,
8.1.
8.1.
Yeah.
Which we haven't done yet. We gotta go on our run. We talked about that.
Yeah, we did talk about that. I went on a run yesterday, and I had a couple soccer games today. So,
Right.
yeah, I love the little light runs. But overall, definitely get yourself a case of Moss by Messi. I would definitely say these are fire.
Yeah.
They're worth getting. I would definitely say the orange Dior might be better cold. The blue one, Berry Copa, I preferred 8.1, and then the yellow one you had was which one?
The Lemon Lime League.
Lemon Lime League. I think that one is top tier with the blue one, and the Miami Punch. I think that one, if you had it cold, like on a hot day, I think it would hit. Right?
Yeah.
I feel it's good. Hopefully we can get a sponsorship. I love
Hopefully.
a sponsorship from
I
Messi.
mean, these are very, very great. There's only 10 calories, guys. We got 4 electrolytes, 6 vitamins, 3 antioxidants, 5 minerals, 1 gram of cane sugar. Like, come on, guys. Like, this is it.
This is what you need.
This is what you need.
I love it, dude. We're totally advertisers now. I went on a run the other day. I mean, I just went for like a mile and a quarter, and I just super light. One thing I do want to get into a lot more is just light running. I feel like I do a lot of intense running all the time because you've always trained so intense. You've always trained to be your best, to be like everything you can give it all.
Mm-hmm.
But like running slower for a long time actually helps you run faster.
Really?
Longer periods of time. So if you build up your cardiovascular energy by basically running slower, you build up your VO2 max, and your VO2 max is basically how much oxygen intake you can get with cardio.
Mm-hmm.
And then if you hit 10-minute miles, say for 4 or 5 months, eventually you're going to be able to do a 9:45, a 9:30,
Mm-hmm.
the same pace. and then you do that for like 3-4 months, and then eventually you're gonna be able to do like a 9-minute pace like pretty quickly, relatively easy.
Yeah.
You know, and then you just build that up slowly. So that's definitely something I want to get into this year. Is just I've always taken my runs so fast, and I'm like,
I feel like that's something I'm struggling with right now. Like right now, I joined this running club. We're in Pilsen on Wednesdays. My boy got me into it, and initially I struggled doing the 5-mile run from Pilsen to Soldier Field, but now I'm getting the hang of it, and it's like I was very conscientious of like running as fast as I could.
Yeah.
And I struggled. I'd get gassed out because I hate running. Although I'm a soccer player and was a boxer, I definitely don't miss those days in youth soccer where it was like you just ran for like half hour, 45 minutes. Like, no.
Yeah. It's needed for the sport, but it's not enjoyable by any way, shape, or form. Just running for 30 minutes straight.
I hate it.
Yeah. It's brutal. Boxing, I do want to talk about this before we get wrapped up, is your little brother?
Yes.
Or your cousin?
My little brother.
Your little brother is now a winning boxer.
Yeah.
So tell me about this story and how this all happened.
Honestly, I was thinking about it as well. Because my cousin, he's big into UFC. So we would go over and watch the UFC fights. And of course, you got to watch the big fights, the big boxing fights as well. So I started boxing, I want to say I was 8-9 years old, and I competed from then till like 14, 15, and I just started prioritizing soccer more. I want to say my brother's been training for like 8 months now. He had his first fight in December. Unfortunately, he lost, but this past fight, Thursday, I actually came back from Cancun Wednesday, and I was talking to my cousin about it. He was interested in going to the fights, and we were interested in just seeing this one boxer who recently won the best boxer award in Golden Gloves, and that's a big deal. And I was just like, you know what, let's go watch this guy fight. And I was just at work, and then my dad calls me, and my mom called me as well, and they're like, hey, you should definitely go to the fights because your brother Alvarado's fighting, and it was a 4-hour notice.
Wow.
For him. So I was like, definitely those butterflies in my stomach where it's like, man, I felt, I was telling my cousins, like, that was my proud dad moment, just seeing him step in the ring and win. I'm not gonna lie, I got a little emotional because it's like, man, you see this full circle, full circle moment. And shout out to Alvarado and Punch Out Boxing. He had a great fight. He looked really good. He looked really composed after the first round, and yeah, he definitely won that fight.
Did you win by decision?
Unanimous decision, yes.
Nice. That is awesome. So you also do Fernando boxing.
Yeah.
So has this started because of your little brother then?
No,
or has this started because of you?
This started because of me, yeah, because of me. So, we touched base in the beginning of the podcast. Fernando Soccer Shop. I feel like during COVID, I wanted to get back to what made me happy. Definitely boxing and soccer are fundamental for who I am today. And last year, a buddy of mine invited me to go check out the Golden Glove fights in Cicero, and from that moment, I started like prioritizing boxing more. So I want to say, as of March of last year, I started like, prioritizing Fernando boxing as much as I do Fernando Soccer Shop. But definitely Fernando Soccer Shop is the priority.
Yeah, for sure.
Growing that. Yeah.
I think it's so cool that, first of all, both of those sports are something that I've relatively got into. I'm more of a fan of MMA and other than boxing. Boxing is definitely an interesting sport because it's like so skillful. But I think it's so cool that get that 4-hour notice. And then did you have to, like, what was the traveling experience? Did you had to travel or?
No, so with the Punch Out boxing team, it's my dad coaching and another coach, Paco. So the fights were actually in Morelos Park.
Okay.
In a nightclub. So it's like local, and it's like, I'm not even sure Punch Out had boxers fighting that night. And I don't even think my brother was interested in just watching the fights, because he had mentioned that to me too, and I'm like, honestly, I just want to see that one guy fight. But I was excited. I was like, definitely, like I said, a proud dad moment, because it's like, wow, like you full circle, and it's like you hear his name being announced, and you see his hand being lifted. It's like, wow. That's what it's all about. And I know for sure boxing helped me as a kid. I want to say I was a little bit shy as a kid.
So you can bend this
my bad
backwards if you want. Yeah, make it easier on yourself. And you can rotate this up if you want.
Look at that. I was struggling for no reason.
Yeah. Yeah, you're good. Yeah, you can adjust it however you want. Yeah,
but as I said, you know, I feel like I was shy as a kid, and boxing helped me definitely. You know, be confident. Obviously, having the ability to defend yourself is always good. But now, I know you mentioned MMA. Now MMA is killing it. Boxing is dying, but MMA, I'm a big fan of MMA now.
I think jiu-jitsu is probably the biggest one.
Alex Pereira, big fan.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Sugar Sean O'Malley just lost this past weekend, and I was a decent fan of his. I thought that his, first of all, Walkout song is the best. Superstar. It's a great song. And just like the way he carries himself, the confidence he carries himself with, if you can even get a brush of that in your own life, you can be more confident than anyone else around you. If you have the confidence of like knowing that you can do these things and knowing that you can fight for whatever you believe in, and whether it's physically fighting or fighting like emotionally or fighting in terms of like a policy or like a coaching statement that you want to go for, or like a podcast that you want to start, for instance, you can do all those things, and that confidence is so important. And I feel like fighting does get people there. Obviously, there's a way to do it properly. That's why I would definitely recommend people to go to coaches and like people who actually run these fighting gyms. You can't just go around and start and fight people and gain confidence. But I think jiu-jitsu more so is the one that builds out the confidence in people, because you really get humbled by it. Because when you get into, for instance, a jiu-jitsu match with someone who's like 30 pounds less than you, and it's your first year, you've never done it before, you get in there, this person's been going at it for 5 years, you're like, oh, you're 30 pounds lighter than me, you're nothing, you're just a little weeb, whatever. And you get down, and once it starts, you're tapping in 30 seconds or less to this person that's like 30 pounds less than you. And it's a humbling experience, because you're like, I thought I had it, but I really didn't. I guess I gotta learn how this is crazy. I just got beat by someone who I thought was inferior, but now it's like you build up that confidence through training, through like learning techniques, and then once you kind of build that up, it represents everything around you in terms of confidence. It builds yourself up. It makes you feel better about yourself. Releases energy. Like gets a workout. It's good for your heart. It's good for your health. I think it's all around benefit to people, and athleticism wise, it's just throughout.
Have you been training jiu-jitsu?
I have not, but I know friends who have, and they all positive. All of that feedback gives the exact feedback that I get every single time I talk to someone who does jiu-jitsu.
I love seeing that meme. I'm not sure if you've seen it, where it's like an intruder walks into your house, and the guy's on the floor waiting. The jiu-jitsu guy's like, I'm here.
He's like, here. I'm ready.
I'm ready. Get down here.
Yeah, I remember that. And it reminded me of another meme where it's like when you're that 12-year-old one day when you're 12 years old and you turn the lights off and you're like, come fight me. Come fight me, dark demons in the basement or whatever. I'm not afraid of you anymore. Turn the lights off. Come fight me. And then you're like, wait a second. There was no one to fight me in the first place. Yeah. All of that fear is gone. I think Alex Hormozy said it best. It was like, fear is like 100 miles wide. 100-mile wide ocean. And it's 3 inches tall.
Wow.
Isn't that crazy?
That is crazy.
It's 100 miles wide and 3 inches tall. Take that first step, and then you'll notice that it's really nothing to be afraid about. This is it. And you can stand on top of it. You can walk across the entire time. It looks crazy, and that's all that fear is. It's just like, it looks nuts. It looks insane. But once you get into it, it's really not that big. It's not that difficult. Obviously, there's some things that are definitely fearful, like
I gotta think about
grizzly
that.
Bear, but
I gotta think about that when I'm in the beach next time, because I'm terrified of the water.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, have you ever seen Hawaii waters before?
No.
Because I can tell you right now, you'll look at one wave from Hawaii or like California. Yeah. You'll see a 3-foot, 4-foot wave, and you'll be like, oh, these waves in Miami are fine. I can definitely go in these.
No, it's funny you bring that up. I mentioned I was in Cancun. I came back Wednesday night, just chilling, playing beach volleyball in Cancun. The waves were so strong, so high, and I don't know. I'm not sure if you've been to Cancun. Like, there's so many rocks.
Yeah.
and like I just brushed my knee there, and I'm like, crap, like if
Yeah,
this wave hit me any harder,
it hurts.
could have like gotten a concussion, like, you know, could have injured my head or something. But thank God I just scraped my knee, you know.
Yeah, like I said, fear is, it's 100 miles wide and like 3 inches deep. That's it.
Yeah.
So don't be afraid to go in the water there, man. I mean,
I gotta think of that.
the
quote
sharks
now.
are pretty far away.
Oh yeah.
But and also you don't have to go swimming 20 yards out. Like you can just go swimming right at the edge of the beach. But also it's the water in Florida is usually freezing cold. It's kind of like Lake Michigan from what I've noticed at least. Where
When I went to Miami Memorial Day weekend, it's definitely like nice time to go. I gotta take you next year then, cause
I don't think I've ever been to Miami.
You never been to Miami?
No.
Oh man.
All right, we're going.
Fernando Soccer Shop and
Fernando Soccer Shop, Jacob Koutas show.
We gotta
Miami
do a podcast in Miami.
I'll bring the stuff. I'm down. That'd be so much fun. Let's do it on the beach.
But it's fun though. Like now that you started the podcast, like something that you want to do, don't be afraid to do it. That's what I did with soccer and with boxing.
Yeah, I would say that is a big message. It's so, like, it's so, everything builds up and you're just like, I don't know what I'm do. It's so scary, and then you just get into it and it's just like, this really wasn't that scary. No, this really wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. And on the other side of that is maybe your success story, is maybe your future, is maybe that job that you've always wanted, is maybe that you know, internship you've always wanted, is maybe that girlfriend that you've never been able to talk to, you know. It's all across the barrier of fear. You just get over that fear and you'll be able to knock it out of the park, dude. I'm telling you, it's sweet. Dude, thank you for coming on, Fernando.
Thanks for having me, bro.
We'll have to go to Miami together and have a podcast. I'm down. Let us know, if the camera, where we can find you, where we can follow you and support your channels, where we can follow you and all of the stuff that you're doing. So let us know.
Yeah, so let me touch base on that a little bit before we end this episode. I do it definitely for the love of the game, for soccer at the moment, especially with my brother boxing. He's also playing soccer and he's also training. So any competitive soccer players, I encourage you, give me a look. I usually try to do a training session Sundays or on Fridays, you know. Just it's supplemental training. I try to prioritize, you know, like the technical aspect, and, you know, giving the kids a chance to like shoot for like the last half hour of our practice. Definitely try to organize it a lot. But yeah, if you're a competitive soccer player and if you want to just, you know, give me a try, anyone is welcome, you know. So on social media, at Fernando Soccer Shop, as you guys can see here.
Show the shirt, yeah. Look at that.
Look at that. And shout out to our sponsors. Let's talk about it. In the back, you want to show them in the back, Jacob?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. We got Eddie Vargas, State Farm Insurance Agent, and Salazar Auto Shop. It's a body shop in Addison. So shout out to them for supporting me and my endeavors. Shout out to Jacob for having me here.
Of course.
And this was a great episode, man.
This is awesome.
This was awesome.
Appreciate it.